Everyone. I'm Eni Ahmed, a faculty member in Accounting and Law Department at IBA Karachi, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to today's session. Today, we are honored to host a truly special guest, a longtime friend of Pakistan, Professor Hans. He, along with his wife, have visited Pakistan multiple times and share a deep connection with our country. Professor Hans also has a long-standing relationship with IBA Karachi. He has visited us on several occasions and participated in the International Summer School and contributed to many of our academic programs and initiatives. Both he and his wife are from Germany. They are distinguished professors in the field of management and entrepreneurship. What makes them truly inspiring is that they are not only academics, but also practicing managers, entrepreneurs, and active researchers. Professor Hans has been teaching entrepreneurial management since the past 12 years in Thailand. His wife is also a PhD and a professor at Bangkok University. So there's a deep academic engagement in his family. Beyond the classroom, he is known for his adventurous spirit and love for experimentation and expedition. He's a mountaineer. He thrives on exploration and challenge, both in nature and in the world of ideas. He's deeply passionate about fostering creativity, innovation, and proactive thinking, qualities that are vital even in structured roles like those at KFC. While this may be a job, success today demands an entrepreneurial mindset. I'm confident that you will find today's session both insightful and inspiring. Thank you for being here. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Professor Hans. Professor Hans, over to you, but I have taken out some pictures from our past, connections at IBA. So I would like to show all the participants here how it has been. So this is from Bangkok all the way to Lahore. This is Dr. Saab's creation. And this is in 2019. It's the 4th International Entrepreneurship Educators Symposium at IBA.
I think we cannot see it.
And you can see it?
No.
Is it visible?
No.
No? Okay, just
at least not from me.
I will start sharing again. Okay, let me just. Is it visible now?
And unfortunately, yes.
Is it? Okay. All right. So this is it. So this is our the association at IBA, and this is the map from Bangkok all the way to Lahore as of now. And this is 2019 International Educators Symposium at IBA Karachi. So these are all the participants, and Professor Hans and his wife is also there. This is while the director at IBA Karachi for CED. Can you see the pictures now? Are they visible?
Yeah.
So this is in one of the events at IBA, the CED events that we had. I hope you remember. I hope the memories are now coming back to how your visits were in Pakistan. So this is I think a trip to the northern areas with Dr. Shahid. I don't know which place this is, but and this is when you're teaching a class at IBA International Entrepreneurship Summer School. Okay, thank you very much. Now, please, Professor Hans, you can start, and I will stop sharing the screen here. And over to you.
Yeah, Sawadee Krap, Salam Alaikum. Good afternoon for you too, right? It's afternoon with you. Let me start with a little sharing on, okay, just a second. Just a second. I'm looking for the presentation mode. I have to do this first. Bear with me. I'm falling into the trap to share and to have it in the presentation mode. So there. So here we go. Should be now in place. Is it okay for you? Can you see it, or is it?
Yes, it is visible at my end.
Yes. So, entrepreneurial characteristics from managing a KFC restaurant. You know better KFC than me. To me, KFC is not just chicken. And you are asking and giving me a task. Just a second. You're giving me the task, entrepreneurial characteristics. And I would like to ask you, if you look at this entrepreneurial characteristics, which one word of this title is the one which is your challenge? Is it entrepreneurial? Is it characteristics? Is it managing? Or is it even restaurant? So let me know. Please give a shout out in the chat or speak up. Which of these words are the most challenging words for you? The one most challenging word.
The entrepreneurial.
The entrepreneurial. What about others? Jawad, is this, how do you pronounce your name? Is it correct? Jawad? Entrepreneurial.
It is Jawad.
Jawad. What about you guys here in this online session? Is it for you entrepreneurial? Is it characteristics? Or is it KFC? What is the most challenging word? Entrepreneurial. Is it all for you the word entrepreneurial, or is it any other word? Or which other word comes up? We will talk about challenges. Okay, so saying it's entrepreneurial, then let me ask you, where are you now? Where do we start our session today? You're saying entrepreneurial is the challenge. So when you look at your professional situation at managing a KFC restaurant, where are you now? What are the key challenges? Which are the words which describe best your key challenges? Shawad, you were the first to speak out. Shawad, what's your, where are you now?
Sir, rush hours. The rush hours.
The rush hours. Okay, the rush hours. And what the key challenge? What is the key challenge during the rush hours? To manage the team?
To actually deliver to man.
Again, I didn't hear you.
Team on the one page for the one purpose: achieve target sales, satisfy the customers.
Sorry, I did not understand you. Please again. That seemed to be something very
to keep the team on one page to achieve targets about customer satisfaction, always achieving sales targets, meeting people satisfaction. These are the challenges we always faces.
When you're saying people satisfaction, are you talking about the customer or are you talking about the people in the team?
We're talking about both the inside customer and outside customers, the people who are working with us and people who are outside the business. for bringing revenue to us.
So when you're saying to keep the team on one page, what is the critical part here? To keep them engaged, or what is the critical part?
Make them understand that we have to reach the one target, because in a team, if we have 20, 30 people or 70, 80 people, all of them have the different minds and different education setup. So we have to keep educate them to reach our target together.
So how close are you with these people?
We are among them always, and we motivate them. We try to educate them, and we get their feedback that they're getting our point or not.
Would you say this is a managerial problem?
Not always.
What is it about?
Sometimes communication gap.
Again, sometime?
Communication gap.
Communication gaps. Yeah. So if we look at, I see here managing people and customer service to provide a consistency, and you said you have metrics, you have key metrics with which you manage the business, and you want that they all are consequently following the metrics, and that these are aligned with your objectives, and that these are aligned with your key stakeholders, your customers, but also your team. So it is the question, does everybody know where you want to go? Do you think that this team of 2030, do they know where you want to go?
Yes, we brief
No,
them
but
our
everyone
target.
have his mental and physical stress.
So we have a situation, and that's the key question for strategy here, that we ask, where are we now? Where do we want to go? And how do we get there? And how do we get there? Because we have our team members walking in different directions, sometimes in the opposite direction. Sometimes they already left. What do you think? How many percent of employees in the world are disengaged? What is the percentage of all employees being disengaged in the world? What do you think?
Probably more than around 50%.
More than 50%. Any other guess?
70%.
70%.
More than 50%, 60 to 70%.
So based on the Gallup study,
70%.
yeah. So we will look into this. How large is this disengagement? And when I give you a number now, because you gave here the numbers, it is worldwide. I write it in the chat. It's worldwide based on research from practice and academic proven, 92%. 92% of employees are disengaged. And of this number, around 17% are highly disengaged. So they already quit internally. When they have another opportunity, they leave your restaurant. So we have a situation where you know where you are now. You have your key metrics. You know where you want to go. And we all struggle. How do we get there? How can we deal with this people business that we are moving in an aligned structure? So how can we align our employees with our goals, with our objectives, to align these goals and objectives with our customer and a stakeholder, with our shareholder, with our franchisor, with potential franchisees, with employees. So let me start with one concept before I enter into this. You are an IBA. Have you exercised the puzzle and the quilt? Have you done this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We done this.
Yes,
So
we
you
done.
did. So I would like to relate to this. When you remember what you did when you did the puzzle, when you think about how you feel, where did you start, where did you continue, and when you were doing it again, what would you improve? And the question whether your team worked as a group. So that was when you are looking back into the puzzle. When you're looking back into the discussion about the kilt, the same question arises. So what have been the differences? The difference were that you experienced the puzzle as a managerial task, planning, you wait until you get what you need. You expect a specific return. You have KPIs, you have targets. It's a very linear approach. And you try to optimize processes and procedures. You try to avoid failure at all costs. You are using the knowable. You try to predict the next day. You try to predict the rush hour by what you know about the people, about the processes, about the procedures, how the people are audited, those who can follow, those have difficulties, those are struggling with their mental and their physical situation. So you tried to get data, you made a plan, and you act on the plan. And you try to stay on plan. So what we learn when we are doing the puzzles, we learn in order to act. That's a managerial approach. It's needed. So we wanted to talk about entrepreneurial, the challenging word entrepreneurial. And to remind you of this exercise, to put out your memories, when you did the kilt, it was about very small actions you did. And you started effectuation with your bird at hand. You started with what you have. You try not to exceed the affordable loss with the rush hour, not to have the loss of walkouts, not to have the loss of less customer satisfaction. So you were experimenting, you were playing, you were creating a kilt, you were embracing failure, and you were leveraging failure. You were collaborative. So the key is the word, you were dealing with the unknown. And I would like, before I get into the question of the engagement, based on what you said, and we can direct the whole conversation here in the direction what is of your interest, I would like to share a very short sequence. What came into my mind, but I need a second to share it. What came into my mind when I heard this. So it's about knowing the unknown. That's a phrase which was created by Donald Rumsfeld. The key is, what is this about? It is about the uncertainty. It is about the surprise during the rush hour, the surprise we know. So let's look what Donald Rumsfeld said. He was answering a question about lack of evidence, in this case, in a specific situation, but let's listen to it.
Reports that say that something hasn't happened are always interesting to me, because
As we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there's some things we do not know. There are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
So he coined this phrase of the knowns, and the managerial is pretty clear. We manage on the known knowns. We start with a puzzle in a specific way. We use our knowledge because we want to predict the future based on what we know. The entrepreneurial approach, and the word entrepreneurial is dealing with the known unknowns. So there are things we know, we don't know. We know we have a problem to manage the team. We know we have a problem during the rush hour to keep them engaged. We know that our people have physical and mental influencing factors, and we don't know how to do it, to get it done. And I would like to introduce a solution today. So the entrepreneur is dealing with the known unknowns. But the most important part, the key of the entrepreneur, is there are unknown unknowns. So there are things we don't know, we don't know. And the entrepreneurial characteristic is to discover every day a few more of those unknown unknowns. So if you have any comments to this, please let me know. I share this one here. And I would like to step into the question, what are these known unknowns, and in particular, these unknown unknowns? What is it to move from a managerial position to an entrepreneurial, or to continue the very positive aspects of you knowing to manage a restaurant and adding to it a specific entrepreneurial characteristic, which is dealing with the unknown unknowns? And how can we disclose them? How can we find out what are the unknown unknowns? So let me start with a very short introduction, and then I'll propose the solution. And let's discuss about this. So I share again a different, where's the share button? Too many things open now here. So let me share. Wonderful, I closed it. So there are three things to consider: the capability, the capacity of your team, the strategy. We talked about this. Where are we now? Where do we want to go? And how do we get there? And there is another element, culture. So Peter Drucker, a management consultant, said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And Lawrence Miller, the founder of lean management, said culture is capability for lunch. So how do they comprise together? Capability, strategy, and culture. As managers, we are building the capacity. We try to build a capacity that our people can do repetitive what we expect from them. And we try to make them buying in our strategy, that they know where we want to go. and they have an idea, they have metrics how to align. The question is, how do we do this? So, what mindset do you like to have with your employees, your teams, your organization? Does the culture matter in your organization? So if you look into the theory of success, what influences the quality of the quality of thinking of your employees? What influences the quality of the actions, in particular in situations where you move your employees from a comfort zone where they know how to deal with it, when you move them into a stretch zone during the rush hours, or even in a stress zone where they're overwhelmed. So you're managing the team within their comfort zone, within the capabilities. That's something which need to be consistent. Yes, this is what you know. We don't need to discuss about this, as far as I think. So we are looking into the situation where we move our teams into a stretch zone, where we want them to stretch a little bit. And then also to have them a feeling that they are not in stress, because in stress, it does not work. I will explain from leadership why this doesn't work. So the quality of actions, culture is here the influencing factor, and the quality of results. You may think about whether the quality of results, in particular the downside, the flip side, whether this is influenced by capacity because they don't follow. I said this 10 times and they know it and they don't do it. So is this situation which influenced the quality of results on the dark side, on the flip side? Is it the strategy because they forgot the strategy, or has it something to do with the culture? The quality of relationships definitely have to do with the culture. So when we look into these elements, we know that there is a different way of communication to empower employees, to make them engaged, to make them motivated, adaptive, resilient, capable, socially integrated. And why? Because we want performance, we want growth. And this also implies for your organization, for your restaurant. You want to make your restaurant, not the food. You want to make your restaurant healthier, your business. You want to make it more supportive, more growth-oriented, more capable to execute on the strategy. So what's the problem? What's the problem with this? We know from neuroscience, and a little bit of excuse me, of information I would like to add to this. We know from neuroscience the SCARF model, and this is the brain of your employees, of each and every employee, also of your brain. And to make it simple, you have an executive state, you have an emotional state, and a survival state. Each employee has this. So the executive state is, what can I learn from it? I am in this situation. I was not able to deal as it is required from me in the rush hour, in this overwhelming rush hour today, this non-expected rush hour today. And we have also some sick leave and some other problems coming up. And the question, what can I learn from this? Yet, what happens if this executive state is threatened? Threatened by the communication of a manager, a managerial communication. Hey, this is what we decided to do. This is what we agreed upon. These are the procedures, and you know them, and we train them. Why haven't you done this? This is a threat. And what happens with your employee is your employee goes into an avoid state, in the survival state. The only question is, am I safe? That's the only question your employees are doing, and your good self as well. So how can we turn the survival state back? How can we keep this executive function up and running? Well, in short, SCARF, yeah, the SCARF: status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, fairness. If we put a threat to the status of ourselves and our employees, we threaten them away. If we put a threat on the certainty, everybody wants to predict the future. You want to predict the future based on your processes and procedures. If this certainty is questioned through actions of people, well, that's a threat. Everybody wants to have control over the event, control over the rush hour, which you said in the beginning. And they want to have a relationship, and they want to be treated fair. Yet, if we tell our employees something, telling, this impairs the executive function and creates an avoid state. The employee shuts down. So what is the entrepreneurial characteristic? It is not to tell. Hey, that's what we learned. Teaching is about telling. Advising is about telling. Mentoring is about telling. So what is Hans talking about? The entrepreneurial approach is to ask. And you heard this from Dr. Shahid and others, the effectual ask: what does it take for you? So if you ask, you eliminate the power eliminate the feel of my job. If you provide a reward, and it's not money, it's value in kind. If you provide certainty, the brain, the executive brain, keeps open. If you reward the autonomy, then you are able to keep the executive part open. So basically, it is about don't tell, ask. Don't tell, ask. Which is quite different from a managerial approach, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Norman, yeah? Do you agree? We are constantly telling people something. The question is, how can we shift this? How can we shift this that self-awareness is in place? Self-awareness leads to something, to do something. Maybe something wrong, very often something wrong, what we don't want. But without self-awareness, it leads to nothing. It leads to do the mistake, which was done yesterday in Russia or today again. We just do the mistakes. Sometimes it feels as if we are repeating mistakes, that we are good at this in doing this mistake. The rush hour is nothing new. The problem that the supply is not there is nothing new. Some technical issues with machinery is not new. I was running a company with an availability of 24 hours, 7 days a week, 360 5 days a year. We never stopped the production, never. That's similar to a KFC restaurant, isn't it? So don't tell, ask. And this is what coaches are doing. The coach is not the one at the football field. The coach is someone who is not focusing on the problem. The coach is someone who focuses on the coachee, to enable the coachee to enable the employee to solve the problem, to keep the executive brain open. Because what your employees, you said something very important. You said they have physical and mental issues. Yeah, absolutely. Because we only see the results. Most of the time, results we don't want. That's why we are here, right? And we also see behaviors. And we look at behaviors very often when behaviors is not complying with processes and procedures, or misconduct is in place. But this all derives from a deeper part, from emotions, from thoughts, from values, beliefs, from the identity. And the problem we are talking about must be resolved at the level beneath the one at which they occur. And you can read here, problems. The problem cannot be solved at the level where they occur. So we need to dig deeper. The problem can only be resolved at the level beneath the one at which the problem occurs. So here, transactional coaching comes in place to shift emotions, to shift behaviors, to shift transactions, not by telling, not by demand, but by asking. There is a question, obviously, but I can see this. If you guys can help me if someone is saying something in the chat. Yes, a scarf, certainty, status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. This is neurological leadership. This is based on how can we deal with situations in today's world. Because we are in the changing environment, in a more changing environment than before. And this means it becomes more and more difficult to predict the future, to say here is a goal, or here is a target, and we have a plan, and we stay on plan. If we deviate, we come back to the plan. If we have a target, we are focused on the target. If we deviate, we go back. No, the situation is that we have a constant changing environment. Even our processes and procedures are, from a managerial aspect, in place. So we need to influence emotions and behaviors. We even need to influence values and thoughts. So that's where we go into when we are talking about transactional coaching and transformational coaching. So I stop share here. As I said, I would like to introduce to you an opportunity how to deal with this from an entrepreneurial perspective. But first of all, it starts always with ourselves. So I will ask you later whether you invite someone to observe you, and also whether you ask your employees whether they invite someone to observe them, to critique them. But we need a specific environment. But now let's first dig deeper into the problem. So oops, sorry. That was the wrong one. Sorry. I'm just not good anymore in Zoom. That's interesting, right? I've been on Zoom every day and then suddenly so here we go. So the question is about leader coach and team coach capabilities. So about the capability that I am able to ask instead of telling, that I'm able to keep the executive brain up and running in a situation where our employees move into a stretch zone and from there into a stress zone, and we get them back into the stretch zone. Stretch zone is needed, otherwise nothing happens. In the comfort zone, there is no success. There is just a process which continues. And if you don't disrupt yourself and your company, it will be disrupted by others. So within the comfort zone, nothing happens. It's not important to keep them into a comfort zone. No, we want to move them into a stretch zone, but not into the stress zone. So that's what we are looking at, by the way, my wife and myself, in looking into entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. And you managing a KFC restaurant, you're saying you are a manager. Is to be a manager the way forward, or are you an intrapreneur? Are you practicing entrepreneurship as an employee? So what we are doing is we are in a team of coaches worldwide. We are looking into creating solutions. Now let's first start with the challenge, and let me know whether this challenge is a challenge which you are facing. So we know from Gallup and other studies that managers are struggling to meet the stakeholder expectations, while at the same time keeping teams engaged. You want to meet the customer, that the customer gets the product in time. So that's what you want. But on the other hand, you want to keep your team engaged in the situations where the team is disengaged. Now let's look what happens. 77% of employees in 2024 are completely disengaged. The number goes up to 92%. But the problem is also with the managers. 35% of managers are experiencing a burnout. And the impact of this disengagement, the impact comes with costs. A drop in sales, 18%. A drop in profitability, 23%. The production units in your restaurant are going on a lower engagement, so they are going down. The quality is not consistent. You raised in the chat, I saw the word consistency. Yeah, that's the key, consistency. And of course, shrinkage or theft. So here is a potential solution. You as the manager, you are the single biggest influence on your employee engagement. So the employee engagement is 70% directly determined by you. So we know that the frequency and the quality of your communication is the single biggest factor affecting your employee engagement. And you said this, the communication and communication gaps. I will give you an example how we can talk differently, how we can communicate differently. So employees need meaningful conversation with your manager to keep them engaged. I would like to give you a little example. A friend of mine here took over a stock-listed company with several brands, and the company was almost bankrupt. And he did something what he calls companionate love. He went to each and every outlet in person and asked the employees, what do you want to achieve? And they started to communicate things which they thought are relevant for the company. And Nadim said, no. I would like to have a conversation with you, what you want to achieve in your life, what you want to achieve the next day, the next week. And he carefully watched out for signs and listened to. And said thank you and went on. After he did this first round, he came back and said, how can we support you to achieve? Last time you said that you want to achieve that your son is going to IBA. You said to me, you want to achieve that your daughter is less on social media. So how can we support you on this? Again, no question about the business. And then he made a third round and said, so I know what you want to achieve in your life, and I know how you think we can support you. Today, I would like to know, what can you offer to us? This companionate love was based on building trust and rapport first. He turned the company within 1 year from almost bankrupt to profitability. Hundreds of outlets. So we know we can turn the disengagement from up to 92% in very well organized companies with coaching culture into a 70% engagement, not 100%. That's impossible. That's a dream. And I say always, virgins have dreams, but entrepreneurs have strategies. So there is no way to have the idea to have 100% of our employees engaged. But we can shift. So the offering is that you think about, is your role really the role as a manager? Have you not already done all this? And you know your gaps and you work on your gaps, of course. We can always improve. But I think you know your role as a manager pretty well, don't you? You know what is needed. You have the capacity to run a restaurant. You know the technical challenges, you know the challenges with suppliers, you know the challenges with employees, you know the challenges with customers, you know all of that. So what about to think whether the role of your good self, in short, is becoming that of a coach? So coaching is a powerful conversational methodology. We just speak differently. We ask differently. Because what we want to do is we want to generate engagement and we want to raise performance through engagement. You did everything to raise performance through clearly defined processes, clearly defined procedures. You're auditing, you're training your staff, you're auditing your staff. This is all done. What entrepreneurship is to add conversational methodology to it. And nowadays, to do this by coaching style, mentoring and coaching. So it is you may think about whether you should build capacity to become a people leader as a coach. That's a question. So we apply neuroscience, we engage in quality conversations, we shift mindsets, to entrepreneurial mindset and entrepreneurial behaviors with insights. We support with continual growth and development of the individual. So we drive employee engagement and performance and culture. So the training, what we are doing is, I'm not selling anything here. I'm just saying what we are doing in coaching is we are building on emotional intelligence. We are doing coaching conversations. As a coach, from 1 hour, I'm talking not more than 6 minutes. If I have a coaching conversation, I'm talking from 1 hour, 6 minutes. The rest of the time is time the coachee is talking, is communicating. And we differentiate between to train a leader, a manager to become a coach, a leader coach, that the manager can coach the teams. And thus we building a coaching culture. So I stop share here and would like to show you a short video. Coaching derived, by the way, from sports. The father of coaching was a racer, Sir Whitmore. And he wrote the first important book on coaching culture, and it is implemented into medicine very intensively. And it found the entrance to leadership to deal with this people business, what you said. And it was fantastic in the beginning when you said the difficulty is to manage the team. The difficulty is to have them on one team. So my question to you is, do you have a team? You're talking about a team in your restaurant. Is this a group of individuals or is it a team?
Somehow it is a group of individuals, and sometimes we can say that we are a team.
Most of them are the team and some of individual groups.
So that's interesting. So we are saying sometimes we are teams, sometimes we are not. You're saying some in your our where we are, where we want to go, and how do we get there? And honestly, from my experience in business and also in academia, because we are running a private university here, so it's also business again. And I'm still in business. So you know this. If there is one or two in your group of individuals, the part which is a team is not a team. So we need to understand, and we need to ask ourselves, are we a group of individuals or are we a team? And when you're saying both of it, allow me to question this. I would like to show you how, based on what you just said, I hope I find this now. Oh, I stopped here. Let me, yeah, here. So, not a team. Even you have some who are working as a team. You have 20, 30 people in your restaurant. 20, 30 people. Maybe more, maybe less. It's a group of individuals. And if you as the manager expose scarf threats to your group of individuals, it's toxic. It does not mean that it does not work, but it's toxic. And what managers tend to do is when they are facing disengagement, damned, I told you several times to do it this way, and again, you haven't done it. You did this, yes. Yet this threat which you are exposing now to your employees is toxic. And the description, the auditing, the fact that we have products and standards for products, that we created ISO 9000 to observe the procedures, describe the procedures and processes, to audit the people, to train the people. All this is not making a group of individuals to a team. And then managers act on misconduct, act on in situations like stress by more demand and control. We need to strengthen our processes. We need to control our processes better. We demand compliance with our processes and procedures. Hey, we start at 7. You cannot come at 7:30. The little practical things, right? So what happens as managers, I did the same. I exposed more demand, and what happens is I increase the disengagement. And I am disengaged as well because it's not happening in the way I want. And I thought about it. A group of individuals where you provide scarf rewards is becoming a team. Don't tell, ask. And if you have your team now in place and you provide coaching conversation, a specific style of communication, then you can build a high-performing team. Why? Because threats are building mistrust, competition, conflicts, unease, and loneliness. And here is the situation of the life cycle stages of your team. Your team, your group of individuals, is going through 5 life cycle stages, which are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Now look at this. We have for each of these cycles specific member characteristics. And we have different leadership strategies to it. Our problem, your problem as manager, is some of your team are in the forming area, some are in the storming area, some are in the norming area. And what you are doing is you are requesting performance on key performance indicators. The most rubbish thing, by the way, in management, what we have, key performance indicators, it's completely not related to the customer. May I just say, managers, we want to do a business. And the business want to make a profit. But profit is not generated. Revenue is generated. Revenue is generated with customers. The profit is just an outcome if we have our revenue streams and our cost structure in a proper, balanced way, that the revenue streams and the outcome out of it, revenue, exceeds the cost structure. Here we are. Profit is just an outcome. And we are constantly focusing on performance. So the leadership strategy as a manager is we are delegating something, we trust someone, and then they are not doing it. Damn. We are expecting collective decision making. We are expecting problem solving. We have a leadership strategy to encourage them. We went to a management training, how to encourage people to perform better, but they don't do it. We celebrate success. Hey, we invite them. We had a meeting together. We went out for a drink. We celebrated the progress. And hey, I kept all my agreements. And you anticipate also, and you mitigate external threats. You help them maybe in your private life. You support disruptions. You have a brilliant leadership strategy. But your member characteristic is not in place. Because this leadership strategy we are just talking about does not work when you observe that one individual is ahead of the team, when you observe assertiveness and competition in the group of individuals, when there is resistance, what do we have to do? What again? You know that we have Russia. Why are not more people? You have to do this, manager. We have emotional reactivity. We have miscommunication. We have a lack of participation. We have cutoffs. We have conflicts. And we answer with managerial leadership strategies in performing. No, when we are in a storming situation, we have to request and encourage feedback. We are not allowed to take sides. We cannot say, hey, look, you did this last time very well, and your colleague is doing it. Can you please do it as your colleague is doing it? You can't take sides in a situation when you observe member characteristics which belong to the phase of storming. In this leadership situation, we are facilitating resolutions that the coachee can find up a solution. So I give you a simple example. It's a wealth management company worldwide with offices. Each office is led by very successful managers, similar to what you are doing. You do this with food, they do it with wealth management. And one of them suddenly is not at the meetings online, disappears, is not doing something which was requested. And then the team starts asking, hey, we agreed upon that you submit this. And this is not working. So we need to understand we have 5 life cycle stages. So I'm happy to share this with you. All small teams go through these 5 life cycle stages back and forth. And for each of the stage, we can observe the characteristics of our team members. And we need a different strategy and communication to it. Let me notice here. And we do this with several trainings. It's a question of how to do an effective coaching conversation with the remote workers when you have 2 outlets and you need to do this online. In the moment conversation at the coffee machine, difficult conversation. Then we have to have different conversations when we coach for change or for growth mindset or for resilience, for well-being, for emotional intelligence. And I want to give you a simple example. We are using coaching models to this, and I would empower you to look into what is a coaching conversation. The coaching conversation starts with a chit-chat, yes, second, minute, not more. I try to find out the emotional state of the employee when I begin the conversation. For example, I'm asking, what are the keywords which describe best your emotional feeling right now? Or I do a check-in, like, what is your high of the week? What is your low of the week? What is your emotional state right now? And please say, I'm in. I want that they leave for a while when I have a coaching conversation. I want them to leave the daily things out and have a concentrated conversation. And then I would like to know, what would you like to talk about? What is your concern? And then we apply models in the conversation. We structure the conversation. And I give you here one example, for goal coaching. So these models, we are structuring a conversation by asking questions. Then it leads to a commitment, because without commitment, without will, we have no result. And at the end of the conversation, we ask, so what was the high of our conversation? What's the low? what's your current emotional state? And I'm out. So here is, for example, the GROW model. It was developed by the founder of coaching. So it stands for goals, reality, options, and will. So what does it mean? I give you the sequence of conversation here. So coaching for goals with the GROW model is, for example, what would you like to achieve in this conversation? What would be your ideal outcome? So you're talking about how we manage stress in a rush hour. What would you like to achieve? What would be your ideal outcome? When would you like to achieve this by? How will you know when you have achieved your ideal outcome? How achievable is this outcome? How realistic is this? What would be different? So we start with a G. We are asking for goals. We have, as a manager, we have a clear understanding what our discussion is, but we let the employee go into the situation that we can ask these questions. And then the next is R, reality check. So what is currently happening? What is the background to this? What else is happening? What else is involved? What have you done so far about it? What is the impact of the situation on you and others? What are the main issues to overcome? So a manager says, so the reality, guys, is this. And then you describe the reality. You tell your staff the reality. Well, if you tell your wife the reality, I don't know whether she will be following you. So it's a question of building relationship. Not telling them what you know. You want that they discover it by themselves, because that makes them becoming, developing an entrepreneurial mindset on it. So what is the impact of this? And then after G, R, now the O comes in place. So what are your options? What other options do you have? Well, if this will not be happening, I go. Yeah, okay. So what other options do you have? What have you not thought yet? And then listen and use the power of silence and dig deeper. What else? What else? What else? What would a 5-year-old child say? What would a role model do in this situation? What are your preferred options? And then after this structured GRO, we get to the point. What are your levels of motivation to achieve this? What are the first steps that you will take? When will you take this step? What obstacles may you face? How will you overcome them? What support will you need? How will you take this forward? So listening to this is maybe a bit too neurological, but you said in the beginning, it's people business. It's physical and mental stages with which we are dealing. And I always said to not always, unfortunately, not in the beginning, I did not. So I failed a lot on this. So you decide every day new as an employee, every day new, whether you come to the company with your head bowed low, or whether you come to the company with all your baggage which you are carrying with you, and it's your agency during the day to get out maybe a little bit more upright and not down to the floor. And we as managers, we may think whether we can change our conversations into coaching conversation style that we as managers are interested to discover this. So if you look into the SCARF model, if you look into the GROW model, if you just search what would be good applying the GROW model to a KFC restaurant, what would be good questions to ask, what would be a coaching style to ask. This is how we can find out that we develop our employees. I would like to share one more little video with you, if you allow me to do so, and if I'm capable to do it. And then let's have more discussion to it. By the way, guys, I would like to challenge you in a minute. I would like to share with you. Oh, I'm offline, sorry. Oh, now hopefully. Okay.
Are we still there, DSQ?
Yes, I think his internet issue.
Okay, perfect.
Me and Aftab bhai also here.
Yeah, we would request every participant to please just hold on a bit, as Hans will be coming online very shortly.
So my apologies. I was obviously disconnected from you. And yeah, I seem to have a little technical issue here. So I would like to address here. I said, do you invite someone to observe you? So the key question is, how do we get better at what we do as managers? How do we get Great. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I cannot show this, but I can say this with my own words. So how do professionals, how do KFC managers get better at what they do? And there are two concepts to it. One is you have an education, you have experience, you apply this to your job, and you're a good restaurant manager. However, somehow on the way, something is not working. And we struggle. And we feel a bit disengaged as well. The other view comes from sports. In sports, we say, you are never done. Even the greatest needs a coach. So what is this about? And Atul Gavan, there is a little video to it, but I can't see this here. It just does not work. I don't know why. Okay. And Bob Osteen and Atul Gavan, a surgeon, invited his former professor into the operation room. And he described that this went very well. He thought nothing went wrong. And his former professor said, with a dance of notes, did you realize that the light swung out of the wound? Did you realize that your elbow goes up from time to time, meaning you're not so secured and safe in your operation? And he describes that all these observations led to, he didn't like it to be observed. Even his work was not better, it became worse sometimes. But over time, his complications dropped significantly. And he became better at what he is doing. So there are two different ways to empower people. You can teach them, you advise them what to do, you audit them that they know the procedures, and they learn. With all outcomes, when it comes to change, because they will resist or reject change, when it comes to more workload unexpectedly, which is a change. And the other way is the entrepreneurial characteristic. The entrepreneurial approach is that we think about not telling them what they are doing wrong, but asking them, did you realize that you do this before you do the other part? You have a procedure and they're doing it wrong. First heating up and then doing the food into it, and now they are doing something wrong in the procedure. Did you realize that this happened? No, you made it wrong. Did you realize that the customer was walking out? So the key is that we learn to ask, not to tell, and then there is another part to it, which we know from airline business. In airline business, we are saying human errors are system failures. So please consider that everything of your managerial process and procedures you have in place in your restaurant are not slices of cheese, are not slices which are solid. In each and every slice, there is a hole. And if this goes through, and again, I cannot show this to you. I don't know why I have a technical issue here. I never had this in this part. Oh, maybe now I have it. Then it would be good. Let's see whether I can get it. Because I would like to finish with this. Yes, I can. Obviously, I can do it now. So it was.
A vitally important.
So please allow me to share how we deal in the most secure business, which is airline business, how we deal with human beings in airline business to make flying safe. Can you see it? Can you hear it?
Part of understanding.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
So let's go through this.
Part of understanding the kinds of error which can have serious results is the appreciation that when things go wrong, 3 failures will have occurred. The initiating event, usually a single error, sometimes on the hangar floor, perhaps during planning, or right back at the design stage. Error can be built in before the job begins. Next is a failure to detect that error, and the absence of an effective control to recover from the consequences. So human error is not simply a case of the individual getting it wrong, it is a system failure. Most of the time, the system works well, but such apparent success may not be all that it seems. A good safety record is reassuring, but to rely on the absence of accidents as an indication of safety can be dangerous. A cheese shop may seem to be an odd place to find out what happens when things go wrong. But this cheese has a lesson for us.
Could you slice it up for me, please? Maybe 4 or 5 slices long ways? That's no problem. Thanks, Fred. All complex systems have many barriers, safeguards, and defenses to separate hazards from victims, from assets, and from the environment. In an ideal world, each defense would look like this. It would be solid and intact. But in reality, each defense is like this. It has holes in. And the same is true for all the other defenses. All the defenses have holes in them.
The defenses which an organization managing any kind of hazard must have include good documentation, clear communication, regular training, well thought out operating procedures, effective supervision, and thorough inspection. All are vital to cost-effective operations and the prevention of accidents and unwanted incidents. Day and night, the work we do, whether we realize it or not, is under attack by circumstances and our own inherent tendency to get things wrong. Usually, individual defenses hold, and any breaches are frequently neutralized by the skill, experience, and goodwill of people in the front line. But just occasionally, they are not. Even then, the error is usually neutralized by other layers of defense elsewhere in the system. But sometimes the worst does happen. The one thing that all incidents have in common is a moment when flaws in the system line up for just long enough to allow people and harm to come into close proximity. The absence of accidents may be the result of effective error management. On the other hand, it may simply demonstrate that undetected flaws have not lined up to allow disaster to strike yet. Take just one example. A dropped or dragged engine caused by the fracture of a fuse pin because brace fastenings were not secured. Similar incidents have occurred at least 5 times in different places around the world among airlines operating from bases with different ethnic and cultural backgrounds. Progressively, Defenses were breached. In one case at least, the pattern looked like this. Procedures were not complied with. Communications failed. Work cards were not up to the job. Training was inadequate. Visible warnings were not present. Inspection did not pick up the error. What events like this demonstrate is that bad outcomes, just like good outcomes, are a team effort by everyone involved. It comes down to this. Defenses are essential, but they are not enough.
So defense barriers, to summarize, defense barriers by managerial processes and procedures, by well-educated managers, well-educated staff, are good and needed as defense barriers. Humanity first. The flaws in the system, when it comes to human beings, is not about telling them what is wrong. Looking back, as entrepreneurs, our characteristic is, where are we now? Where do we want to go? And how can we get there in an aligned structure? How can we empower humanity by asking and not telling? I invite you to not use the word why in management, to use the entrepreneurial word what and how, and to empower the individual that they learn to do it better. So your task as a manager, or I invite you to think about whether the role of the manager is that of becoming a coach to empower people to solve the problem. Thank you very much. I open the floor for your questions.
Thank you, Hans. Wonderful. So we have to move to what and how. So thanks for a wonderful time. Actually, I had a busy day, so was chairing few meetings. So जनाब, any question जी? कोई सवाल आपके ज़हन में आ रहा हो? Any question जी? ताकि फिर हम wind up कर लेंगे. We have few minutes. जी जवाद साहब, अस्सलाम वालेकुम sir, mashallah. So these are our great people spread all over Punjab. And so I would appreciate if you can switch on your cameras. Generally, मैं था नहीं, but मैं तो I would have made you open actually. So, mashallah, sir. Thank you very much, my friend. Wonderful, sir. Great.
So maybe we can all step out of the dark and open our camera for a while, that we can see each other.
Saima Saiba, thank you. Mudassir Saab, thank you. Suhail, Mahmood, Janab Jazakallah. And mashallah. So I think a lot of lessons for us. Coaching is a very important tool, coach. Ji Janab Nasir Javed Saab has a comment or a question. Ji Nasir Bhai, please, can you switch on unmute yourself?
Yes, Assalamualaikum. Actually, I just want to clear myself upon telling and asking. As Professor Hans has emphasis on asking instead of about telling. But as you know that we have a lot of numbers of team with us. We have at some stores we have 100 people, 50, 60, 70. On average, we are working with the 60 to 70 people. So asking can be sometimes challenging for us. So most of the time we go for the telling purpose, so everyone get the right knowledge and right process how to proceed further. So that was the concept behind that with us. So can you help us just to understand more clearly about the preference of asking upon telling?
The key to get the people engaged to do what your managerial concepts provide is to have a culture of trust and rapport where 70, 80, 100, 200 people are willing and capable to do it by themselves. They have to solve it. And following a demand is not doing it by themselves. It requires from you the constant repetition of the request, the constant repetition of the description of the process and procedures. So the question is to me, when you're asking me, how can we get there? It is the question, as I try to explain, if someone is not weeping up the table properly, you can say you have to do this properly. You can say you do it this way, and the next time they take the wrong cleaning material and they don't do it. So you have to instruct again. You have to spend a lot of time in instruction and monitoring and demanding and controlling. That's one part. It's needed, yes. But there are more defense layers to it. And this is by asking them, did you realize that the table is not clean? You can say the table is not clean, clean the table, or you can say, did you realize that this is not clean, or even better, do you really realize something which could be done? So, because you don't want, I know this in particular when I have new, when students come into, what I tell, for example, students when they go in an internship, if you ask an entrepreneur the question, what do I have to do? Go back to the university, you're not ready to work. So, yeah, if people cannot see the work which need to be done, so we need to train them to see. Yeah, I think you agree. When you have a new staff and you employ someone because you need someone, it's in the rush hour, the work is there, everybody can see the work, and the new employee does not see the work. They cannot see it. And what we train, for example, students here at the university, because they have to do a half-year internship. By the way, they could also do an internship in Pakistan. They have to do an internship. And what I tell them is, if you come into the company, you're not allowed to ask, what do I have to do? Do it, see the work, and then you will see whether it's right or wrong, and you will get an information. And there is no, it's next opportunity. That's the entrepreneurial approach, which I expect when you're in an internship. Don't bother someone and then don't say, nobody told me. So this is the standard answer. Nobody told me that I have to do this. Excuse me, it's obvious, but it's not obvious because they did not understand it, because it's not about instruction. It is about the empowerment that they are capable to solve the problem by themselves. Is it helpful what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's turning.
Yes, got that.
It starts by turning a demand into a question, and by turning it directly away. The table is dirty. Have you seen that the table is dirty? This is also a threat. Can you go around and observe something? Empower the people that they are being part, that they take agency of what they do. By executing a managerial demand, you are doing a system gastronomy, where the system has to provide a specific outcome. And you're struggling that the humans are not following all this, what is clearly described. And you describe this all clearly, and they're not following. So we need to understand that human beings, good and bad outcomes are system failures. So there are flaws in the system. There are flaws in the cheese, which is the human being. So you have not only several processes and procedures described, you have also several cultures. You have several levels of understanding and do you have this slice of cheeses for the different human beings in place? We experience this when we put people from different countries, different worldviews, different time zones, different languages in one group, and they have to do something within 3 weeks' time. So there it starts with this, that a group of individuals goes through these 5 life cycle stages, and that we need to empower them, that they build relationship and trust and rapport first. It is the coaching culture which reduces the flaws in the system, the human flaws in the system. It's not, you don't have one. It's a brilliant question. It's a brilliant thing what you're saying, because we try to understand that we have 100 employees. No, you don't have 100 employees. You have maybe 10 different slices of cheese. You can maybe group the 100 into 10 slices of cheese, and each slice have different holes. Some have more holes, some have less holes. The key problem is that's not going through this. And what happens in our employees is we line them all up, and bang, it goes just through, and bang, the accident happens. And that's why we understand human success as human success and not a system success, and we understand human failures not as system failures. We understand this as an individual mistake, and we are asking then the question, why have you done this wrong? You know that you don't have to do it. Well, it doesn't matter. It's past. You cannot change it. Entrepreneurial, we are not looking back. We are not looking back. And I, as an entrepreneur, I try not looking back. I cannot change the past. I only can change the future. So that's my answer. It's a very, very difficult, because it starts with us, because it's against our own nature. Yeah.
Got that. Thank you very much.
Sir. So I would like to request, I think Mujahid Saab is not here. If he's here, fine. Otherwise, I will request Adnan Ibrahim Saab, sir, can you say a few words of thanks? And I understand you have been here for like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think it's been a great session. Thank you very much for sharing such in-depth about everything. And I think everyone must have got the necessary knowledge that we all require. Although there's a distance gap, we have been hearing and learning a lot of very good things from Dr. Shahid because of the physical presence. We really wish you were here physically as well. But maybe one day we can come to Thailand, or you can come to Pakistan, whatever is convenient.
I love to come back to Pakistan. I love to be in Pakistan. And I also have to say what many people don't consider. I'm German born, and it was Pakistan who supported, and my father was in the resistance against the Nazi system, and it was Pakistan who supported Germany to rebuild the country. So in Thailand, the relationship between Thailand and Pakistan is an important relationship, and need to be empowered. So, and what I experienced, this is again the most important part, humanity first. Coming to Pakistan, I'm not making nice words. It is experiencing hospitality.
Thank you.
And that's something very special.
Jazakallah.
I love to be in Pakistan. So.
We will definitely be. It'll be an honor for us to welcome you and definitely take you to a great treat at KFC.
Great. So, जवाद साहब आप भी बड़े बहुत तवज्जो से सुन रहे थे, कुछ कहना चाहेंगे सर? शुक्रिया अदा कर दें.
Yes,
जवाद साहब,
Mr. Hans, thank you so much. Thank you so much for delivering this wonderful session, and it was very to the point. All of our problems and our concerns were greatly, and we love the learning style as well, Mr. Shah. Very good experience, and we would love to take this back to our homes as well, to our colleagues as well, to our restaurants as well, and we would like this to be shared with us, and do a daily feedback session with our employees and our RGMs on these sessions.
Thank you very much.
हमारे भाई मसीह साहब, सर आपको नाम बोल के मुझे जरा ये थोड़ा सा ये hands is also very spiritual. Yeah. तो आप थोड़ा सा.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First of all, I am thankful to all the KFC senior management that they have provided us chance to grow more in the knowledge and learn about entrepreneurial business minds, and to grow more and run the business, the company they want to run. And thank you so much, Dr. Shahid is always so fluent with full of knowledge. And today I'm really grateful to Dr. Hans with new ideas, new learning, And we are growing by this nano MBA classes. I'm really thankful to all the trainers, all the doctors and entrepreneurial mindset people who are guiding us and training us. God bless you all abundantly.
Oh, thank you, sir. नासिर साहब आपने कुछ फरमाना है सर आखिरी चीज कोई या कोई और साथी कहना चाह रहे हैं तो इजाजत लेती फिर.
Anybody wants to share anything?
So, mashallah. So you have a friend in Bangkok now, you have a friend in Germany, and may God, and Hans went through a very, you see, he went through a very, बीमारी में से गुजरे. He went through a disease actually, and he recovered. That was a fight back at the verge of, he was going to God Almighty, and then God gave him more extension. So may God bless him with both health, contribution, and his love is amazing for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, in German we call it vielen Dank, thousand danke. डांके तो सर आप जरा एक इनको शुक्रिया का एक इसमें ना ये बटन दबा दें जरा यार जरा ये खुश हो जाएंगे हमारे प्यारे भाई. ये होता है ना कि ये कहाँ होता है रिएक्शन में होता है. आई थिंक रिएक्शन में थम्स अप कर दें जरा. रिएक्ट में जाकर ना थम्स अप कर दें. थम्स अप फॉर प्रोफेसर हैंस. वाओ. So say my regards to Professor Uli. I hope she is.
I do. Thank you. She's fine.
Fine. So thank you very much, sir. Jazakallah and goodbye.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Wa alaikum assalam. Have a nice day. Everyone have a blessed day ahead. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you.